Okay, guys, you just watched that video, right? That sea monster is called a shark whale. With its size, it can be seen that it's a monster. But actually, that fish is just a fish. Big. Its mouth is 3 feet wide, but it has a tiny throat. Very funny. But as long as you are created, as long as you exist, there is something you must do to survive. You must feed, you must eat. So now this creation has learned how to eat, how to survive by eating. So it can exist amongst every person in society. And how does it eat? It just open that his mouth wide though. Very simple. And it moves slowly. And in so doing, it start eats those weak things, those small things, tiny creatures. That's what it eats. Tiny fishes, plankton, fish eggs, and tiny sea creatures, other tiny sea creatures. Once it opens its mouth wide and is going against the current like this, those things just flow into his mouth. And it uses a filtering system, it does not shoot. That is to say that even this animal, if prevention I'm in water and I engage with this animal and I float, I just find myself flowing into its mouth, I cannot be eaten. I cannot be consumed because it has a tiny throat that human cannot pass. So it made the gills opens, the water they go out, those tiny creatures that it has passed through his mouth goes through the throat into his body system. That's how it eats, that's how it nourishes itself, that's how it stays long under the waters. And let me tell you something. Watching that video, we saw that the animals, these tiny fishes, were afraid of it. Why were they afraid of it? This animal has been demonized in their face. They are very before. When they see this animal coming, they know that their terror has come. They start running. But in the running, some will be caught. For the eggs, they have little or nothing to do. Where were their parents? So these things they go in, it just feeds on tiny creatures. Now, this is not just a video to watch and entertain ourselves, but this is a video for us to use to know what life really entails. There are some certain things we have to study and see that this is what is actually happening amongst us in society. This animal is big and its same animals, fish, they are all called fishes, was running away. Look at our society today. Is that not what plays? There are some certain people in some certain corridors of influence. They are like the sea shark, or sorry, the shark whale. When we see them coming, in short, once they speak, we just people just melt. They lose their sense of belonging. They are overwhelmed by these persons. It is very funny. Sometimes you look at these things and say, these are just videos, these are animals. Ah, God is great. The Bible tells us something. He said, go and study the ant, how it survives. Say it gathers during the dry season. That when the rain comes, it is okay. That is how we have to study some of all these natural things that God has designed for us to be able to sustain ourselves. I, for one, after seeing this animal, what do you think I would do as a person if I were a small fish? I have to learn to grow myself to become a big fish. because that's the only advantage it has over me. That I am small. I have to make myself big, because if I am big, even if I enter into his mouth, I will come out. And if I'm big, I can never be afraid of you because I already know who you are. I know that yes, I can come into your mouth, but I will not pass through your throat. And that is what we must do. We must train ourselves. That is the only way we can become big as people. We must and train ourselves is developing our mind. We have to work on our mind. The average man has not worked on his mind. He's always thinking there's little or nothing he can do about this situation. This is the way I've been made. This is how I've been born. But that is not true. A man called Bill Gates said something. He said, if you were born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it's your fault. That is to say, if you were born in a certain kind of environment, it's not your fault. But anything that makes you die in that environment that is undesirable to you, it is your fault. Do not put the blame on anybody. Not even your forefathers. You have to work on yourself because this shark whale, they are still in our society, though walking with two legs. But there are people that have, and if you watch very well, another thing I noticed in this video, it is said that anytime this whale want to eat, it just opens its mouth wide and moves slowly. And then if you look at the research very well, he said he eats sea eggs, other tiny sea creature, tiny fish. Where can you find these characteristics? Even plankton. These things are underneath the water. Like they are almost at the seabed. That's where they reside. So there's a certain environment that these things are that it can get its food. Have you not noticed that when a certain class of persons want to have their way in society, they go and look for tiny fishes and cause an impact. They just shake the system a little bit and you will see there will be uproar. They've eaten. So you see, it is the tiny fishes that they use to survive. You don't want to be a tiny fish because you will be the one the shark whale will use to survive. Yes, you may not be as large as the shark whale if you develop yourself, but the shark will respect you because it sees you as a monster also. Not a monster as he is, but a monster that he cannot deal with. So you are going your way, it is going his way. We must develop ourselves. This is very important. It is paramount. If we want to create a shift in our environment, we must work on our mind so that we will not always be the ones that are praised. We will always be the ones that are victims. Watch this video, share it with your loved one, and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me also.